Hey, fellow movie buffs. My name is Steve Roeder. I'm the writer, producer, director of the Hunchback movie. This movie was done without a screenplay. Believe it or not, it can be done. Blair Witch Project, the most profitable movie of all times as far as an independent film, did it, as did the original Paranormal Activity, all done on outlines, no screenplays, and ad-libbed. I did it with some SAG actors. They were not A-listers, but I got a nice crew involved there. But the reason that movie came about is I read an article in the Atlanta Times about a young man who is 8 years old, was bullied, harassed by his students, and he ended up hanging himself in his closet. It broke my heart, so I thought, hey, I'm going to try to do something and make a anti-bullying movie, if you will, something that's a little more creative and something that people might, I meant teens or young adults, might actually learn something by when they call people names and bullying them. So I went out and started doing everything myself. My first movie, never made a movie before, but I started reading books. Been in casting for a while. I've been shopping screenplays for associated writers, but I ended up just writing out an outline, and then I started casting just friends and neighbors, and then one thing led to another. And I found a location out in Arleta, California, and that was called Laurel Canyon Stages. So, in looking for a place to film this movie, it was going to be a 4-day shoot based on a minimal micro budget. And that ended up being a location that had some sets in there already from a prior movie. And I looked at it and I thought, hey, I can use those. I can use those in my movie, and I'll place it where I think it will do the best for the movie. So anyway, after casting, finding the location, we ended up finding an associate partner of mine, and we ended up creating the sets, the cages that were involved in the movie. And we did the actual chains, and we did the shackles that were done by PVC plastic. We spray painted them silver, and we bought little flashing lights from AutoZone and put them on there, and they were adjustable. So we could turn our wrists one way, they would fall off, but with an editor making a sound like that, it would be, hey, it's actually remote controlled shackles. So, make a long story short, I'm not going to bore you with any of the details, but we had some excellent acting from people, and the reason we got that is I allowed them, directing them to be themselves. No screenplay, but they had 2 weeks of preparation. They had some outlines that I gave them, and a couple of lines that they had to do at a certain time when I told them to act that part out. But the good thing is they got to be themselves, and the directions were given as I would give them to you if you were on the set, is that pretend that you were captured without any idea why you were chloroformed, captured, and put in a cage. What would you do when you woke up and you found yourself in an arena with 6 other cages and other people that were shackled, and you have not an idea why you're there? And things go on that you would not believe at that point in time. You put a number above your cage, as the other cages in the octagon would be, and throughout the entire movie, all you have to do is be yourself and believe that you're going to be horrifically mutilated after a time where you did something wrong, you don't know what you did, but you set off a chain reaction, and up goes this gigantic door, and out from the mist and the fog comes this hunchback creature coming in, and you think you've done something terribly wrong, and you did. But guess what? He's not coming after you. He's coming after the person next to you. And what that sets off is a series of 17 mental tortures in which the Nazis in World War II were masters of mental torturing, not physical torture. But that the movie is evolved around a psychological horror sociopath who was bullied in his young life, and now he's recruiting a legion of people his way to feel what it's like to be crucified his entire youth. This young man was had a condition called a kyphosis of the back, which is actually a hunch on his back. And when he was young, he was ridiculed by all his students, especially a young black student. And as the ages went on and he became a teenager, his worst tormentor was a man named Theodore Johnson, which his street name became Knuckles. But as you learn throughout the movie, you find out later why you were there, why you were caged. But in the meantime, you're going through guilt You're going through fear, you're going through anxiety, you're going through all kinds of anticipated tortures, and you're seeing flat screens above your cage of relatives who you care about. Your mother, your sister, somebody in your family are being stalked. And guess what? They're going to be caged too, as your perception would be. So now you have all these feelings going on throughout a period of time, and you know your time's coming as the numbers are being rotated, and as the numbers are rotated, you're getting closer to be taken away by this hunchback creature. And you're going to hear horrific mutilations and saws and gnarling of dogs and beatings and people screaming from the cage that was next to you because you set it off. You couldn't keep your mouth shut when a light on the top said, "Whisper only, don't talk." And of course you're going to talk. If you get woken up in a cage, you're going to talk. Everybody did, and everybody would. And that's what the hunchback and his keeper, they knew that would happen, and that's part of the circle of events that goes on with the movie. So, if you were told to act like yourself, if you were told you're going to be horrifically mutilated, how would you act? You had 2 weeks to prepare for that, and trust me, when you watch this movie, you're going to see award-winning performances by people who had no acting experience. And the people who had SAG actors, they did immaculate. And they had SAG credits, and the people that we had to pull off the street because we had some no-shows, they did an outstanding job also. So you can do it. If you're an initial filmmaker, you think you have to have a screenplay, trust me, if you have the right genre, if you have the right ideas, if you plan, you outline, you cast, you have a rolling system of things that will make this thing work, you can do this movie. Or you can do a comparable movie. So I encourage you all, go out, watch The Hunchback 2021. It was done without a screenplay. It was done ad-libbed. You're going to see performances from people that we pulled off the street, people that were friends and relatives. They were given the right direction by yours truly, but they got to be themselves. And tell your friends, tell your relatives to watch this, because you're not going to see anything like it. You're going to be scared. You're going to be twisted. You're going to find out there's 3 red herrings, and you're not going to guess who the real antagonist is. You will not. Guaranteed. Go out and watch it. Rent it. Go to the theaters. It should make it there. Best of luck to all of you.